Hi, it's Mike DelSignore. In today's video, I want to talk about what happens if you're arrested and your case is going to be heard in the Wareham District Court. I've been handling OUI cases for my entire career, and I want to go over some of the key things you should expect if you're arrested for OUI and your case is going to be heard in Wareham. First, OUI charges are difficult to prove, hard to convict somebody beyond a reasonable doubt. That is because the government needs a very high burden of proof. So things like field sobriety tests, breath test evidence, that's not always reliable in court. For example, breath test evidence has many flaws to it. The scientific assumptions are not always reliable. The field sobriety test, those tests are designed basically to make you fail. There's a lot of reasons why somebody may not be able to walk out 9 steps without stepping off, why somebody may put their foot down prior to 30 seconds. So those tests really are not accurate predictors of whether someone is under the influence of alcohol. So that's some of the things that I would like you to understand, that when you're charged with OUI, you have a winnable case. The evidence is very subjective. It's essentially a crime of opinion, where the officer's saying that he thinks you're under the influence of alcohol. Doesn't mean you actually were. Could be that you were tired. Maybe you have medical conditions that explain issues with balance. So make sure you understand the defenses to your OUI case. I've been doing this basically for my entire career, help people every day answer questions like, what are the license losses? And I'm going to explain some of those things to you. So the license penalties for a first OUI, 30 days. After 30 days, you can get your full license back if you took a breath test and failed. If you refused, it's a 6-month suspension. So very quick time to get your license back if you took the breath test and failed. The downside is that they have that evidence against you, and we have to figure out a way to get it excluded from evidence when we're fighting the case. But right away, almost the week after the arrest, a week after your first court date, schedule a hearing online with the RMV so you can get your license back immediately after the 30 days expires. If you refuse to test, you're not going to be able to drive for 6 months. It's your first OUI. I wouldn't try to appeal that suspension because many of those suspensions are up. Almost all of them are upheld, and generally the RMV is going to take out an additional suspension against you for immediate threat. So don't make things worse by appealing your refusal suspension. I've handled a lot of cases out of Wareham District Court over the years. There's 2 sessions. Generally, there's a trial session and an arraignment session. Your first court date, you're going to be in the main session. The arraignment session, you're going to enter a not guilty plea, get a further date to come back for what they call pre-trial conference. Wareham does pre-trials by Zoom, so you won't have to physically appear in court. The only time you'll physically appear in court is if we're resolving the case or if we're doing something substantial on the case, like a motion to suppress or something where you'll want to hear the evidence. Often in OUI cases, I'll do a motion to suppress. I'll challenge the basis of the stop. Sometimes I'll challenge the admissibility of evidence. So motion hearing is separate from a trial. It's basically the legal issues in the case. So keep in mind, if you're charged with a first OUI, you have a winnable case. There's got to be a process. These take some time. Arraignment, pretrial, and then either a bench or a jury trial. You're charged with a misdemeanor offense, so it's not a felony offense. It's not something that's going to stay with you your entire life. You can seal an OUI whether it's continued without a finding or guilty after 3 years. So don't assume this is going to ruin your entire life. Most people after the arrest are very upset, down on things. If you need alcohol treatment, get it. It's never going to hurt the case. But call me so I can give you a realistic impression about the court process and what you can expect. So many OUI cases are winnable cases. I have many clients found not guilty after trial because, like I said, these things are subjective. Walking out 9 steps, heel to toe. A lot of reasons why maybe you didn't do perfectly on that test. And when I'm looking at the test, I'm looking for major observations. Stumbling, staggering, minor things like miss heel to toe. I don't think that's a real strong indicator of impairment. Putting your foot down early in the one-leg stand. There's a lot of ways I can question the cop on the stand to show you actually did better than he gave you credit for when he scored this test. So feel free to reach out. My name is Mike DelSignore. I help people all the time with OUI cases out of Wareham. 781-686-5924. You can call, text anytime.